Okay, here we are back at our fun little project, and a couple of things. One, cover came out great, no warping, nothing funky, it all looks good. I've got my ridges. I might have rounded these a little bit more. Next time I will, but even still, I like them. They're beautiful. So now we're going to deal with the spine, the end sheets, getting ready to finish up the covers to make a box. So remember that at this point you have a book cover. You have a book cover that you can sew a journal into, but we're not doing that today. So I have to be aware now of a couple of things. One, I want to put a little dangle here, one of these. It's going to hang off here. So I want to do that at this point in the project. Also, I'm going to run a piece of Tyvek tape, which I do sometimes just for added sturdiness. You don't have to. You could run a piece of fabric, you could run nothing. Also, I would have normally told you to finish up this section with just by doing that, by running a piece of fabric, or you could run paper, like that matched your end papers. I'm using this for my end papers. So I could have just, run another piece of the same print there, but I've decided I want it to look more leathery. So I went and made another little piece of the leather stuff. And it's not an exact match since I didn't do it at the same time, but it's close enough and it's going to be on the inside. So the order in which I want to do this is as follows. First, grab a pencil and decide where in here I want my little dingbat. So I could take this off, because I will have to take it off to put this on. And I'm going to kind of just eyeball it, and that looks nice right there. So I'm going to put a little pencil mark right there. So now I know with my big chomper, I'm going to use the smallest hole. Oh, it's on grommet. There we go, the smaller hole, and line it up with the hole mark I've made, which I can never ever see, but I believe it's about there. And I'm going to just see that it's centered, and it looks pretty centered. So there we go. I'm just centering it this way, and it's about perfect. Okay. Here we go. Done. So I think that should be big enough to take my little happy guy here. Yes. So I'm going to put this back on so that the ring hangs out as it should. And we want it to dangle down, so we want to make sure that our brad is in the right orientation, which you can always change before you finalize it. And now we're going to stick it through the hole. There we go. Terrific. And now on this side, we are going to squeeze it down. All right, so now normally I would just put some tape over that anyway. You see me do that in other videos just to protect the paper or whatever's over it, but since I'm running a little Tyvek into this spine just for added stability, since this is only paper we're using, just going to cut a piece just big enough. You don't want it to stick out, you don't want it to show. This stuff sticks like crazy, so I'm using my adhesive scissors to cut it. And let's see, that's fine. So I'm just going to put it on. I'm going to wind up using two. So I want you to put on one side first. I don't care which. See how sticky it is? And then using your bone folder, you want to rub it down in between. There we go. And you can do the same on the other side. You're going to bend it both ways. We still have our nice crease here, and then the next side, and then that is covering up our little pokey parts. So same thing. You can use duct tape, painter's tape. Painter's tape is a little weak. It's not going to give you a great bond, but once it's covered with everything else, it shouldn't go anywhere, that's for sure. let's see, we're going to double check the size. That's fine. Again, it does not have to be anything. I'm going to cover up over the prongs. And push that down. I could have been straighter on my cut. I'm going to just trim that in case I don't do a big end paper. And I could let that go. Bring it in like that. And then, there we go. So again, it's just a little added love. All books appreciate a strong spine, just like humans. There we go. All right, so that's wonderful and good. I have a little bit of a hiccup there. Remember, this tape is like crazy sticky. Okay, so that's done. Now we can put this end paper on. I don't need that anymore. And I want to put this end paper on about 1/4 of an inch in, which is a lot. But because I want to run my book box basically over it, so you really don't even see it. So, let me see. Yeah, at least 1/4 inch in, which would be about there. Beautiful. So I can just measure. Oh, no, I don't want to put this down yet. Whew. Scary stuff. I want to put the spine in first. Well, I guess I could have put it in second, but I'll be happier if I put it in first. So now we need to cover this. So we're going to cover this by about, looks like 4 inches is more than enough. So I'm going to go trim this to about 1/4 of an inch down. So it looks like 9 1/4 by 4 inches. So I'm going to trim that to this, and I'm going to do it on the paper cutter because it'll be quicker and straighter. Okay, I've cut my little piece that's going to cover the spine. I'm going to center it right in the middle and about eyeball center it to each side. And I'm going to use the Fabrifix. At this point, I don't want to introduce more moisture, and the Fabrifix is going to be a better choice for sticking to this Tyvek. So I'm going to put it on here, and I will do the edges of this after I lay it in. You'll see. I'm going to get the gist of it in on the spine itself. So let's say about 1/4 of an inch and centered side to side. And now I'm going to lift this up and do this area because I wasn't quite sure how far down it was going to come. And I didn't want to do this whole piece yet. Okay, come down a little bit more. There we go. Actually, this could move down this way a little bit more. See, oh, I had more glue down this side already, so that's good. Good. All right, so now we do our little burnishing. We're going to come down here and give this sort of a guiding burnish in the hinge, just so it knows where you expect it to go. Now, keep in mind, since we've put our dangle on, the book does not lay flat anymore, which is not really a big deal, and we will accommodate for that in a minute. All right, so you want to get it good and gooey and gluey. There we go. Down. Beautiful. I'm not sure what this blue flicker is. Something in the paint. That's okay. And now on this side we're doing along the edge and down below and all the edges. And lay it down. Don't even press it hard, just get it down And now, before you press it hard, give it some encouragement to go in the spine. And then actually bend it and press along each side. There we go. We're going to get that really down in there. And see how this moves when you do that. So that's why I like to have it bent up before I tell it where I want it. There's one. There's two. It's good. We're done. We got a little glue on us, but it will come off with our Happy Glue eraser. Not a problem. Okay, so there we have it. That part is done. We do want to let it sit and adjust to its new surroundings. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, now we want to put on the end papers almost, because I think I want to put this plate on the cover of the book. So I have to decide. Well, I guess I already decided this is the cover, because here I've put my bangle on this side. I should have thought of that, or I could have thought of that. It didn't matter. I know this is a very symmetrical book. It's not going to make a big difference, but had I wanted this to be, or if this was meant to be the cover, the dangle would be here, not here. Unless you want to dangle on the bottom, which I don't. So, this is my cover, and I want to put this plate somewhere on it. Very simple. Now what I'm thinking about is, because I might give this book to somebody, I don't want to put something in here that's permanent. So if I were to glue it down, of course, that would be no good. And also, there's a chance that when I put my brads in, it's also going to be not really happy about, well, it will be fine. I take it all back. I take it all back. It'll be fine. I will be able to get a piece of paper in there because of all the ridges. So now, we just want to measure for where is center of this book. And it's 6.5, so 3 1/4 would be center of the cover. And I'm thinking about there. Does that feel good? Yeah, I think it does. Lower, higher, maybe a smidge lower. Since it's, I wish I had more of these. This is the only kind of faceplate I have besides the real 1920s industrial looking ones. I don't have any fancy ones. I gotta get on that. Maybe I have to go shopping. I'm trying to not buy a lot because I have so much stuff to use. Like I probably have 50 of these or more maybe. I don't know. All right, but that's where it's going. So same thing. I'm gonna hold it in and put a little mark there. Now, because I'm afraid I won't see the mark, I'm going to go get my awl and just give it a poke. So now, holding this down, I'm actually going to poke right through it. There. And there. And I can't even lift it up. And go right through. Watch your fingers. And then go to the other side and do the same thing. There we go. And now you don't even need the chomper thing. I can go all the way through and make the hole big enough with the awl. Just another way to do it. There we are. Okay, so these are going to use tiny little brads. Tiny little brads. Where are the tiny little brads? They should be in here. I see the screws. Maybe I took them out. Oh, I did. I took them out to use on my other piece. Did I put them back in? I did not. Be right back. All right, so I have two kind of tiny little brads, and these are Tim Holtz. They are far more polished looking, more finished, a nicer shape than these cheaper ones that I got from China. So let's see if it matters. These little guys in here. Okay. No, it is going to be the cover. I'm thinking I'm going with the better ones. Sometimes you can get away with these depending on what you're doing, but these are so much nicer. I really am a fan of Tim Holtz and the things he designs and creates. So here's two of these. They're the same color because I think there are some silver ones too. Actually, that one looks a little silvery, but no, it matches just fine. This one a little coppery. I might switch it out. Yeah, that one is too coppery, so I do want a silvery one because it matches better. Okay, so I'm wondering, because this is a very porous, bumpy surface, if I don't want to run just the smallest bead of glue right on the bottom to keep it more attached, so when you put a piece of paper in there, it stays. And for that glue, I think I'm going to use my skinny glue here and just put it along this edge here. Just to be sure that it does not let the paper slip through. So now I'll put this one in. And I don't want to put it down yet. I don't want that glue to hit anything yet, but I have to see this other side. There we go. Okay, and now to put that in this side. Come on. Find your home. There we go. All right. Terrific. All right, so that's where this one's going. And let's see. And I also might put some corners on it. We'll see. I don't know. But there we have it. Looks great. Thank you, Tim. And once again, add a delightful little touch to my project. Okay, now that that's done, we do want to put some tape on here. So I'm not sure where my artist tape that I often use for this is, so I'm just going to take two little pieces of Tyvek and just stick them on to cover up that. All right, so now we don't yet want to put on this end sheet, because this end sheet is going to have a magnet on it. You saw in the original book, wherever it's hiding, had a magnet closure, so it stayed shut to the box with a magnet. So I'm going to do that. So that means I don't know where that magnet's going yet. We don't do that side yet, but we can do this side because we want to finish that up so we can put the box in place. So I decided, what, 9 1/4 would be a good length for this? Yes. Now again, we're doing another measure with the ruler straight up and down so we can see it. So this is 6 1/2. Come in to 6, I think, because I want to pull it out from there. Give it enough room here. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. 6. Okay, now we just have to put this in, and we will do that with our Fabri-Tac. It's here, and we do want a good amount of it, and we definitely want it along the edges. Now, if you were putting on a different type of closure, I should back up a second. If you were putting on, say, a ribbon, which you could easily do, you could have run just a ribbon across this whole back. You would have done it before putting on this piece, but if you hadn't, that would be okay. You could make it just decorative coming out of here. But you want to put it on before putting on this piece and then before putting on the end papers, so that you would hide them under the end papers. If you're at all interested in doing that, like I said, like putting a ribbon closure, Check out my other video. I discussed that. I have a couple of them that discuss using ribbon closures versus what we're doing today is the magnets. So that's the thing about all of these projects, is you have to know what the sequence is. And the other thing about these projects is they go twice as fast when you're just making them as they do when you're demonstrating them. Because I've made these books in seriously under an hour. I mean, not maybe making the leather part, but using some other covering for the covers. It takes no time at all. I churn these out. I say churn them out, as my friends who have gotten them as gifts learn that maybe she doesn't spend her whole life making me presents. Okay, so I'm putting this down about 1/4 of an inch in from all sides. And I do want it reasonably straight because I want to line my book box up to that. So again, kind of eyeballing it, not too concerned one way or t'other. Isn't that pretty? I like pretty things. Okay, so there we have it. One. So now this one, like I said, will not get added until after we've added the box and the magnet. So now we're ready to do the box.